lectures we have been trying to understand how we can represent a PN junction diode using its equivalent circuit, and if a given circuit is there which has some diodes, PN junction diodes I mean, then how we can analyze them. So few examples we have seen in the last lecture, like having a single diode in the circuit, how we can analyze this. So that was simple. If we assume that this is say ideal diode, in the if we assume that this is ideal diode, in that case the voltage drop, okay, so voltage I mean mm, potential barrier, okay, potential barrier for ideal diode is zero. Okay, for ideal diode it is zero, and simply we can replace this diode with a short circuit here and redraw our circuit as here. And then we can apply the KVL into this loop, assuming the current I to be flowing, and I can be very easily found to be 8.2.2. Okay, so if we assume this diode as an ideal diode, in that case we can uh, have this analysis here. But here in this problem, the silicon diode is given. So silicon diode has to be replaced by its equivalent model. Again, if we assume that the forward direction resistance offered by this silicon diode is say very small, zero, say, but the potential barrier is not negligible for the silicon diode. It is 0.7 volt. So zero point 0.7 volt has to be applied by the batteries to overcome the potential barrier of this diode. Okay, so that means the internal potential barrier of the silicon diode is opposing the external voltage source. Okay, so to represent this, we show as if there is a potential source inside the diode which is opposing the external voltage source, and the equivalent circuit resulting could look like this here. Now in this circuit again we can apply the KVL equation and find out the current. So if the current say is I, then we can apply KVL very easily and find out I to be equal to 8 minus 0.7 divided by 2.2. So this is the difference when we assume the diode as if it is ideal one or it is silicon or germanium or whatever. If it was the germanium diode, then we could have replaced this 0.7 by 0.3 volt. That's it. Okay, so in this way,
So,
we
sir,
yes.
in the first case, when we got I is equal to 8 by 2.2 k ohm,
Mm.
what did we assume that silicon diode is not there, or it is not like it doesn't have any potential?
Okay, in the starting, what we did, we tried to be actually assumed here that silicon diode is not there. Okay, and in place of silicon diode, we have a an ideal diode. Okay, so that this assumption. Okay, The silicon diode.
So ideal diode does not have any potential, right, sir?
Yes, yes, that already we have seen. Na? When it is on,
Yeah.
it acts like a short circuit, and when it is off, then it acts like an open circuit. This is
Sure,
what the
sure.
ideal
Just
diode.
to confirm, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, so we just have seen okay both the cases, the ideal case and the real diode case. Another case already this also we have seen in the last lecture. Just quickly we can revisit this. If some doubt is there, then we can clarify here. We have two diodes
Sir, in the
connected in a
last
series.
question, sir, in the
Yes,
last question, how to find the different types of currents then?
different type of current means.
That ID, okay, so only one current is there. But sir, you can see there are two types of current,
In this question
ID
4,
and IR, sir.
you are Mr. Bharat Kumar.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Sir,
so
there are ID and IR both. So will they be same, sir?
yeah, that is the question from my side to you. Should they be same or they should have different values? Can you say?
Sir, what is the meaning of ID and IR? Can you, sir, explain? Just the meaning.
I am sorry, I cannot explain right now. Okay, what is ID and IR? Okay, they are just the symbols. Okay, some current is flowing. They have no meaning at all. Okay, you can write I1, I2, whatever your wish is. Okay, you can write anything. Just it is just representation that say some current is flowing through the diode, and default diode. I think it is standing here, and ID is just saying that the current through the diode. R stands for resistance. The current flowing through the resistance is just shown by IR. So question from my side is whether what do you think about the values, okay, magnitude of this ID and IR? Suppose they are different. Can they be different?
They should not be different, sir.
Yes, then what from what the question is arising? They are in the series, okay, they are flowing and they are actually the same currents, okay, flowing through the same loop. So they cannot be
Yes,
different. Okay, that is the basic law of electronics, electrical engineering,
yes,
I
sir.
think. Okay, so that's it is just representation that said some current is flowing through the diode and some current is flowing through the resistance. Okay, so
Okay, sir.
what we can see here that if and this is important when we have the case to find out these values using graphical method. Okay, so when you use graphical method, then we need the characteristics. Okay, say voltage versus current. So for the diode, say silicon diode, we know that it has the exponential nature of current. Already we have seen. Okay, BD upon VT minus 1 say. Okay, so if VD is increasing, then exponentially the current increases. Okay, after certain voltage, like this. That characteristic we have seen in the last few lectures. So graphically also we can solve this problem. Only the thing is that we have to plot the characteristic of the diode here. We have to know this. As voltage is changed, then how the current is going to change.
Current will change.
Yes. And then we have to actually draw another thing which is called as load line. Okay, we shall look at this okay later on maybe. And nowadays this is not that much important because we generally solve the problems using the equations here. So load line actually just shows here the uh, supply voltage and the this resistance here. This is nothing but acting as a load here. Okay, so this will actually give you a kind of line. Okay, some line like this here, and the intersection of this line here, which we call as load line, and that equation of the diode characteristic, the intersection of these two gives the solution of this particular circuit, and the corresponding values of the current and voltage, that is the solution for the circuit here. Okay, so we can read from the graph. Okay, in these such cases we have to actually have the knowledge of the graph. Okay, so we have to plot them, and then we
Yes.
can do these things also, and we can directly read the values of the corresponding values of the drain current, sorry, diode current, and the uh, voltage here. So these will be the
Sir,
corresponding values.
in
Yes.
this load line graph, we assume that PN junction, sorry, that diode is what is that called? Yeah, actual diode having no potential.
No, no, it is not like that. We cannot assume the potential across the, if it is ideal diode, then we can assume the potential across it is zero, short circuit. Okay, and if it is not the ideal diode, then we have to take this voltage 0.7 volt.
Okay, sir.
Hmm. Okay, so as we okay discuss more and more, these things may become clearer. Okay, so and as another example, if we take two diodes connected in series like silicon and some LED here, LED, we have seen that it is made of some composite semiconductor. Okay, and has a higher barrier potential. Okay, so silicon is having say 0.7 volt, and this LED is having some different uh, barrier. Okay, I think more than one. It will be okay, somewhere it is given, I think. So we have to actually see in such a case that whether our applied potential is greater than the total voltage required to make the both diodes on or not. If it is less, then these diodes will be off, and if it is greater than this both values here, then it will be on. Okay, so before proceeding here, we have to compare the input with the potential barriers of the diodes connected in series added together, and if input voltage is greater than the uh, potential barrier of the both diodes, in that case the diodes will be on and can be replaced by their equivalent circuit. And if it is less than, in that case both are either of one may seem to be off, and if there is anything which is off in a series circuit, then everything will appear as it is open circuit, and there will be no current through that. Okay, so current can be directly set to be zero for such a case. So here 12 volt is very large, and we will see that both diodes are on, and uh, under such a case we can replace the both diodes with their potential barriers along with this potential source and the resistance. And again, we can apply the KVL through this loop to find out the current. Okay. So it is 1.8 volt here for the LED and 0.7 volt for this silicon diode. Okay. So it is easy now here to find out this current. I current can be found to be equal to 12 minus 0.7 minus 1.8 divided by 680. So this will be the current here. So I hope everyone is able to write the KVL equations. Okay. I don't need to explain it how to write the KVL equation for such a simple loop here. So current may be calculated to be equal to 13.97 milliampere for this case. As an example now, okay, so let us see another case in which now say two diodes are connected opposing each other. Okay. So in such a case, when we have two diodes opposing each other, one diode will seem to be on, whereas other diode will be looking at this potential as if it is reverse biasing it, the second diode. Okay. So overall, what we will see that if any of the diodes are off in a given loop, then it will act as an open circuit and there will be no current flowing through it. Okay. So when we have such a case connect in which two diodes are connected back to back, we will see no current through them. So essentially here the current IR will become 0. Okay. So first diode appears as if it is on, whereas the second diode appears as if it is off here, and there is no current through. So because there is no current, so there is no voltage drop across the resistance as well, and one can get output voltage to be equal to 0. Okay, so no analysis needs to be done over here. Only thing we have to see whether any of the diodes are off or not. Whereas another thing one can see, the second thing which is very important to understand, if one looks the voltage appearing across the reverse bias diode, one must note here that the diode is physically present. Okay, this is physically present, this is not disappearing. Okay, so the diode is here, but it is reverse biased and not allowing any current to flow through it. Okay, so that is the case here. So what voltage across this is there, which is reverse biasing it. So one can compute this by applying the KVL here and assuming that current through this is 0. Okay, so one can write this equation here, minus 20 plus BD2 is equal to 0, and from here BD2 will be equal to 20. Okay, so this KVL equation one can write. Why we can see that the out, okay, there is no voltage drop. Okay, because the current we have seen it is 0 because of the open circuit behavior of this diode. Okay, so there is no voltage drops across any component because of the current being 0, and hence output voltage, the voltage across the reverse bias diode will be seen the full supply voltage 20 volt. Okay, That is also called as open circuit voltage. As another case here, now we can see two diodes connected in parallel here. Here both diodes are identical. Okay, so both diodes are identical, made of silicon. The current ID1 and ID2 needs to be found along with the output voltage V0. Okay, so again, to verify which diodes are on and off, we must compare the potential barrier of the each of the diodes with the supply voltage. Okay, so supply voltage is 10 volt over here. 10 volt is certainly greater than the 0.7 volt, the potential barrier. Okay, so that's why the both of the diodes are on. Why these are on? Because the diodes are connected such a way so that P side is facing a positive polarity of the potential, input potential. Okay, so that's why it is becoming on. If the say configuration is say just reverse like this here, okay, then what we will see, say with the same potential source, such a diode will be off because it is opposing the potential here. Okay, so the uh, P side and N side of the diodes are such a way, and one is applying this kind of potential across this. So this is actually equivalent to increasing the reverse biasing. So this is just increasing the reverse biasing. Okay, this is not trying to forward bias but reverse bias. So here we are applying such a voltage which is trying to forward bias these diodes, and so the diodes becomes on here. Both the diodes will become on here. So both the diodes can be replaced by their equivalent circuit, assuming that the forward bias resistance given by them is 0. Okay, so forward bias resistance RF, or we have seen called as RD. Okay, dynamic resistance, or we can also call as RDC. All these values for this case will be same because it is a DC potential. Okay, so a a drain a diode current and a corresponding value of the diode voltage is there, which is not changing. So more likely we'll be using RDC. Okay, RA. So okay, so but it is negligible here, so it is not shown in the diagram. So now we can see that both the voltages appearing across the diode are connected in parallel. Okay, so this is in parallel. So because of this, output voltage is nothing but equal to 0.7 volt. Okay, so output voltage is 0.7 volt. So here now we can apply the KVL into this loop and find out the current I1 first. Okay, so current I1 can be found here to be equal to 12 minus 0.7 divided by the resistance in the path is 0.33k. So 0.33k one can write here. So this is the value of the current through the resistance I 0.33 kilo ohm. Okay. Now this current is passing through two paths here. There are two diodes. So the current I1 is now branching into ID1 and ID2, and because both are of silicon diode, okay, so the current are going to be equal. So ID1 is equal to ID2 here in this case, and it will be equal to I1 upon 2. So in this way one can find out the voltage, currents, all these through this circuit here. Another thing here we can argue, suppose I think yes, this is the case here. Here also, in this case also we can try this. Suppose in place of silicon here, one silicon, suppose we have say one silicon here, and another diode is also there, which is different. The problem is the same one. Say we have this plus 12 volt, say 0.33K, and silicon and germanium now. Then what is the output voltage in such a case?
Sir, the higher one.
Suppose the 0.7 volt is the cutoff voltage or the potential barrier of this silicon, and that of the germanium is 0.3. So who is answering here?
Bharat.
Okay, Bharat. So you are saying that higher voltage, that is 0.7 volt.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other answers from anyone? There are two values, okay, so one can go with 0.3 also, I think.
Sir, I think, sir, no, sir, I'm wrong. 0.3 will be there because that will start first.
Okay, that's what I wanted to means put someone in favor of this also, okay. So because there are two cases only, either 0.7 volt we can have, either 0.3 voltage we can have. So that's what we want to argue here. Which output voltage we will see. So let us argue, okay, then conclude. So 12 volt is certainly greater than 0.7 and 0.3 both. But as soon as we uh, connect this 12 volt potential, then the germanium diode, which has potential barrier 0.3 only, starts conducting first, okay, and becomes on. So as soon as this will become on, because its potential barrier is less, so it will maintain a 0.3 volt, okay, 0.3 volt voltage across it, and because it is conducting, the current is going through this, okay, in starting. Till now the silicon has not started conducting it. So because now 0.3 voltage is maintained here and the current is also conducting through this germanium diode, so what will happen that the potential across the silicon diode happens never to exceed this 0.3 volt, and 0.3 volt is certainly less than 0.7 volt. So the silicon diode doesn't find that uh, time to switch on. Okay, so this remains off actually. Okay, because of this, so silicon diode remains in off condition, whereas germanium diode conducts, it starts conducting first. Okay, so it will appear as if the silicon diode is not present and the full current is flowing through the aluminum. And in such a case, output voltage will be 0.3 volt and the current will be 12 minus 0.3 divided by 0.33. Okay, so this is what the current will be. Okay, one can compute the exact value using calculators. So the similar case is shown over here, in which now silicon and gallium arsenide, two diodes are connected in parallel and a 12 volt source is applied. So gallium arsenide is a composite semiconductor, has cutoff voltage, okay, or the potential barrier uh, of this gallium arsenide is greater than that of the silicon.
Silicon.
Okay, so silicon will start conducting first and it will maintain the potential across it 0.7 volt here. Uh, so because of this, what will happen? The potential across gallium arsenide never exceeds this 0.7 volt, and so it will remain off here. So current will only pass through this
Silicon diode.
12 volt. Okay, so silicon diode, yes. So the current one can compute in the same way. So we have seen, okay, in previous few lectures the equivalent circuit, how we can represent the equivalent circuit of the diode. So we have seen three different representation over there: the ideal equivalent circuit, then simplified equivalent circuit, and then piecewise linear. So the second one, this is mostly used, whereas for more accurate calculations, one can go for the piecewise linear equivalent circuit, in which one needs to add the resistance also offered by the diode along with the potential barrier and the of course ideal diode. Okay, so this is what the piecewise linear equivalent circuit is. In the simplified one, in this simplified one, we remove this. Okay, whereas in this ideal one, we remove this also. Okay, so in the ideal we have this ideal diode only. Okay, some more comments are here which already we have understood. Now,
Sir,
yes,
a question, sir. Sir, the composite diodes have potential barrier greater than one always or not?
they have always greater than one. Okay, because their composite semiconductors have a higher energy band gap. Okay, so that's why their potential barrier is also larger than the
Okay, sir.
silicon or the aluminum.
Mhm.
Okay. So you can actually go through the books, okay, and find out some more questions on the circuits and solve them. And if found some difficulty, we can of course discuss about those. Now it is time to move ahead. Now we look at some of the application of these diodes in rectifiers, of so-called as rectifier circuits. So diodes, we have already seen that their characteristic is to pass the current through them in one direction, whereas they oppose the flow of the current in the other direction. Okay. So this characteristic is exploited here to realize something called as rectifiers. So we have two types of rectifiers here: half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. So we will look at one by one on these. Okay. So the usage of the rectifiers are to convert an AC signal into a DC signal. Okay, so that's what. So AC signal is that which is changing with time, or a DC signal is that which is constant with time. So rectifiers are able to convert the pulsating signals into a constant signal. Okay, so we have okay here simple half wave rectifier circuit. So half wave rectifier circuit consists of a diode, a load resistance RL, and an input signal. So input signal is here given. So input signal is changing with time here. So input signal in this case is given through a transformer here. Mostly we have a step down transformer here. Okay. So this transformer is a step down. So from the mains we have the voltages such as 240 volt, 200 to 240 volts say, and then we reduce them to a smaller voltage by step down transformer and imply that pulsating at AC voltage are to the diode circuit here, which is very simple as we can see, consisting of only a diode and a load resistance RL over here. So at the output here, we can see that we get only half of the input signal here. This signal, if we see, then this is also changing. Okay, it is not constant. We can see it is changing, but now the difference is that it has an average value now, which is non-zero. We call that average non-zero value as VDC if it is a voltage signal, or IDC if it is a current signal. Depending on this, we can have an average non-zero voltage or current. So that's what we try to have here. Whereas the input signal, if we look at this, then it is having an average value equal to 0, because we can see that the positive half and negative half both are of equals area, and so the average value is 0. Uh, we can also relate the turn ratio of this transformer to have a particular value of the voltage at the secondary of the transformer. So input side, this is called as primary, and this output side of this transformer, this is called as secondary. So there is a relation between the potential of the primary and secondary, which is given in terms of the turn ratio. Okay, so mostly this is a single phase supply. Okay, so just we can have some illustration here what happens, because just we have learned here how to analyze this kind of circuits here, diode circuits. So we can employ those concepts here to analyze this half wave rectifier circuit as well. So because the potential is changing, so for the half time period, when we are in the positive half, okay, this part above this horizontal axis, this is called as positive half cycle, and below this is called as negative half cycle. Okay, so we have positive half cycle and negative half cycles. So during the positive half cycle, we have a battery potential as shown here in the circuit, positive upside, negative downside here. And for such a case, we have the diode on, and if we assume this to be an ideal diode, okay, most of the times for a simple analysis, we assume the diode to be ideal diode unless told. So it acts like a short circuit, and we get the output voltage exactly the same as input voltage. There is output and input both are same. This is what is happening in the positive half cycle. Whereas in the negative half cycle, the polarity of the potential source is changed. Okay, so positive voltage is downside, negative voltage terminal is upside here, and with such a potential voltage potential across this diode, we have the diode to be reverse bias, and this is acting like open circuit here. And when this is open circuit, there is no current, and when there is no current, the voltage drop across this resistance, that is I times IR, will be 0, and so the output voltage is 0 volt. Okay, so this is what it is shown here. For the first positive half cycle, we have the output to be equal to input voltage, whereas for the next half cycle here, we have output voltage to be equal to 0 volt. Okay, so just an animation we can see here, that what happens in the positive half and what happens in the negative half. So in the positive half, the current is flowing, whereas in the negative half, there is no current flowing. So with this we can stop here, and you can study more about this, and we can continue our discussion in the next lecture. Okay, we can try to analyze this now half wave rectifier circuit for its different parameters, okay, in the next lecture.
Sir,
Yes.
in this animation, what is the direction of current in forward direction? Like when the output, sorry, input is positive.
Yeah, I think there is some mistake, okay. I have to see this. In the forward direction, it should show this current here, but it is actually showing
Yeah, that's what I was
reverse
asking.
direction, okay. So there is some mistake.
Direction is wrong.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so with this we will stop here. We will continue our okay discussions in the coming lectures with finding more okay different parameters of the half rectifier.
Can we reach now?
Yes, yes.